It's one that gets a lot of attention in our national spectrum. It gets more attention probably than most other ones. You know, mothers may not feel that way, but it is the truth. Today is a holiday where we celebrate our amazing mothers. What we know, and I'm going to give you a little bit of history today, what we know is Mother's Day that we celebrate today became an initiative of Ann Jarvis at the early part of the early 20th century. The very first known date that we have recorded of celebrating Mother's Day is in 1907. This was when Ann Jarvis held a memorial for her mother at St. Andrew's Methodist Church in Grafton, West Virginia. In 1908, Congress rejected the proposal to make Mother's Day an official holiday. However, owing to the efforts of Ann Jarvis in 1911, all U.S. states observed the holiday, with some of them officially recognizing Mother's Day as a local holiday. In 1914, Woodrow Wilson signed a proclamation designating Mother's Day, held on the second Sunday in May, as a national holiday to honor mothers. Did you get that? There's a little bit of history of the United States and how we celebrate Mother's Day. You know, throughout history and throughout the world, people have celebrated their mothers and wives in this fashion, in some form or fashion, over the years. Now, the Bible holds mothers very special. Very special. We can see how special mothers are from Rachel to Ruth to Mother Mary, Jesus' mother, to the mother of the Zebedee sons that came in front of Jesus and petitioned Jesus for spots to sit next to his right and to his left. All the way to the mother of us all, Eve. Right? The Bible holds a very special place. There's a proverb that I want to walk through today, and it is Proverbs 31. It's the very last proverb in the book. But the very first verse helps us to understand why this proverb and who gave it to who. It says, "The saying of King Lemuel, an oracle his mother taught him." This is a king who's giving wisdom that his mother taught him. His mother. An oracle, the word oracle can be transfigured, if you say, into the word wisdom, if you'd like. Wisdom his mother taught him. And we know this is his mother because the very next verse says, "O my son, O son of my womb, son of my vows." So we know it's his mother speaking to him. She gives him some advice. She says, "Do not spend your strength on women, your vigor on those who ruin kings. It is not for kings, O Lemuel, not for kings to drink wine, for rulers to crave beer, lest these drink and forget what the law decrees, and deprive all the oppressed of their rights. Give beer to those who are perishing, wine to those in anguish. Let them drink and forget their poverty, and remember their misery no more. Speak up for those who cannot speak for themselves, for the rights of those who are destitute. Speak up and judge fairly. Defend the rights of the poor and the needy. That's some pretty good advice. His mother's given him some amazing advice. Don't be a drunk. Son, watch out for women. That's like the first thing she says. Watch out for women. We'll get there. But he says, watch out. Watch. Don't spend your strength on women and your vigor on those who ruin kings. Okay. Just wait, Kelly. Just wait. This is a mother telling her son. Kelly, this is her mother telling her son these things. It's not for kings to drink beer and wine. Don't be an alcoholic. Instead, son, what you should be doing is you should be giving wine and drink to the poor and to the needy, the ones who are suffering, the ones who need it. Stay alert. Speak up for those who cannot speak for themselves, for the rights of those that are destitute. That's good advice, right? After she speaks these things to him, all of a sudden his mother changes what she's teaching. She goes into what the Bible calls the epilogue of a wife of a noble character. Verse 10 changes the direction of everything that she's talking about and says, a wife of a noble character who can find? She's worth far more than rubies. That's interesting. She starts here. She starts here. A wife of a noble character who can find? She's worth far more than rubies. She's worth far more treasure, son, than you could ever believe. Finding the right woman. Isn't that what mothers teach their sons? How to find the right woman? Her husband has full confidence in her and lacks nothing of value. Think about that for a minute. Her husband has full confidence in her. This is a noble woman. Her husband has full confidence in her decision and what she does. She brings him good, not harm, all the days of her life. That's an interesting verse. She brings him good, not harm, all the days of her life. How many women can say that they've done that in their life? I'm not a woman, but how many women can say that they've brought their husband good all the days that they've been with him to this point and never brought him harm? Never brought him harm. You know, this is a hard thing. When I do marital counseling, it's always tit for tat. Always. Well, he hurt me, I hurt him back. Well, he didn't do this, so I did this. This doesn't say anything about that. It has nothing to do. This isn't the character of a noble husband. This is the character of a noble wife. What you do is not depending on what your husband does. She selects wool and flax and works with eager hands. She's a hardworking woman. She's eager to do the task that's in front of her. She makes decisions. If you notice, she makes decisions. This comes at a time when women are property, right? You're going to learn some things. This is a proverb. This is written well before the New Testament. She selects the wool and the flax and works with eager hands. She's like a merchant ship bringing her food from afar. She goes to great lengths to take care of her family. Great lengths. She gets up while it's still dark. She provides food for her family and portions for her servant girls. She doesn't sleep away the day. She gets up while it's still dark, and she works hard at what she does. She not only provides for her family, but she's providing for her servant girls. Everybody that's underneath of her, everybody that she's around, she's taking care of them, right? She considers a field and buys it. Out of her earnings, she plants a vineyard. Wait a minute. I thought women were property. Isn't this a businesswoman? Isn't this an intelligent woman? She considers a field. She goes for it, right? She's planning. She's thinking things through. She goes and she finds a piece of property, a piece of land. She makes the consideration, she buys the property, and then she invests in it. She plants a vineyard. She's a businesswoman. She sets about her work vigorously. Her arms are strong for the task. She's not lazy. You notice it says, this is like the second time. She's eager. She works vigorously. Her hands are strong for the task. She sees that her trading is profitable and her lamp doesn't go out at night. A businesswoman. Now she's trading. Her trading is profitable and her lamp doesn't go out at night. She's always working hard. In her hand, she holds the distaff and grasps the spindle. Most people don't understand what this is. This is when they used to make clothing, right? By hand. They would take the wool from the sheep and the goats and they put it on the spindle and they would weave it. Or they would pull it or spin it, however you want to call it. And they would make thread, which in turn they could weave into clothing. She opens her arms to the poor and extends her hands to the needy. Now she's not only taking care of her family, but now she's taking care of the poor and the needy. That's an amazing woman. That's an amazing woman. When it snows, she has no fear for her household, for all of them are clothed in scarlet. I'll tell you what, my mother always took care of us. She always made sure that every one of us were clothed. We had shoes, we had coats, Dad worked, but Mom always did the little bit. She knew if we needed socks, we needed underwear, we needed boots. She knew it. And she took care of us. She makes coverings for her bed. She is clothed with fine linen and purple. This is an interesting verse because everybody skips over the intimate part of the marriage bed. Here, she makes coverings for her bed, which means she's taking care of that part of her relationship with her and her husband. She takes care of herself. She is clothed in purple and fine linen. She takes care of herself. One of the most amazing things growing up with my grandmother is my grandmother was a noble woman. She was always dressed nice. Always. She'd get up in the morning, She'd always do her hair, do her stuff. She was always dressed. Her husband is respected at the city gate, where he takes his seat among the elders of the land. I want to stop here for a minute, because it's important that we get to this point, and I feel like a lot of women go, "Arr!" They just, "Arr!" Wait a minute. Can your husband be respected at the city gate if you are always running your mouth behind the scenes about him? Think about that for a minute. Can your husband be respected if you are always on social media telling somebody else what's going on? If you're always, every family encounter that you come to, it's always negative. One thing that I can tell you about my mother and my grandfather, or my grandmother, is I cannot remember a single time that my mother and my grandmother ever said anything negative about their spouses. Now, does my dad fail? Yes. Was my grandfather a great man? No. My grandfather cheated on my grandmother. He wasn't a great man. He had his flaws, but you would never know it. I will tell you, when you met my grandmother and my grandfather, my grandmother was the pearl of the relationship. She was an amazingly strong woman. Smile, laugh, be there, encouraged him. My grandfather was a business owner. All the years of my life growing up with my mom and dad, they argued, but my mother never said horrible things about my father. Never. Ever. If they had a discussion, they discussed it. The whole world didn't know everything that was going on. If your husband is to be respected, the wife has to be respected. Have you ever heard the term, behind every great man is even a greater woman? You ever heard that term? It is absolutely true. It's absolutely true. Behind every great man, there's an even greater woman. Why do you think Mother's Day is so important? Dads get a tie or a barbecue set. Mothers, they'll go to the ends of the earth to find the right gift to give a mother. She makes linen garments and sells them and supplies the merchants with sales. If she wasn't a businesswoman then, she's a businesswoman now, right? She's making a product and she's selling it. She is taking care of her family. This is interesting because when we read this stuff, this is back when women are property. But yet, when you read this is a businesswoman. She's buying land. She's making garments. She's selling them. She's doing whatever she can to provide and take care of her family. She is clothed with strength and dignity. She can laugh at the days to come. I don't know about you, but when I look at my mother, that's what I think. She is clothed in strength. Not physical strength, but this emotional, mental strength. Mothers have this amazing, amazing thing. She has dignity. She speaks with wisdom, and faithful instructions are on her tongue. How many of you have ever listened to your mother talk? Is she wise? Mothers speak out of their wisdom. They speak out of a place of love, of caring, of, hey, look, I've done that stupid stuff. Maybe you probably shouldn't do it either. I'll tell you, as a son, mother spoke her wisdom through a wooden spoon. And guess what? Sometimes, as a boy, I needed to hear it that way. Because just going like this, as a boy, you just don't listen. But sometimes mother's wisdom comes through the end of a wooden spoon. That's right. She watches over her affairs of her household and does not eat the bread of idleness. This is a big issue with today. Idleness is a big issue. Has anybody ever heard the term, idle hands are the devil's playground? If you do not believe me, this is the case. For you older mothers, you know this is true, but you younger mothers, Stephanie has a wonderful little not 2-year-old, but a 4-year-old boy. Wonderful, lovely boy. Take him home and make him sit on the couch longer than 5 minutes. I guarantee you, within the next 15 minutes, he'll break something. He'll smash a window out. He'll climb over the table, knock down the TV. Because you cannot make a boy sit idle like that. Will he do it on purpose? No. Little boys do that. They have very short attention spans. Idleness in a marriage is horrible. If you are sitting idle in your marriage, things happen. Bad things happen. Bad things happen in your relationships when you sit idle. Pretty soon, Mr. Charming comes along. Temptation happens. Her children arise and call her blessed. Wouldn't you like that? Wouldn't you like that, mothers? Her children arise and call her blessed. Her husband also, and praises her. Do you notice that we get to this, the mothers want this, especially young mothers, but they don't realize this is at the end. This is one of the very last verses. This is what comes after she's done all of these things. A 2-year-old child sometimes doesn't arise and tell her mother he loves her. He tells her mother, I hate you, and storms off. I'm telling you, mothers, they don't really hate you. They don't. I know it feels like it at times, but it's not that way. It's not that way. But when you have a wife of a noble character, when you get to this end, her children do arise and say, you know what? I love my mother. She's always there. She's always taking care of me. She does so much. They find so many blessings. Even her husband has nothing bad to say about her, but actually arises and praises her. Praises her. Many women do noble things, but you surpass them all. Charm is deceptive, beauty is fleeting, but a woman who fears the Lord is to be praised. charm is deceiving. Men, most women, if we tell you that men are visual, women will go, yeah, I know. But men are very visual. Beauty is fleeting. Older mothers know this. But if you watch a man who loves his wife to the age of 80 or 90, and you wonder, like, man, what does he find so attractive? Because there is something that is different that young women don't understand. Because men, when they see you, that is how they see you the rest of their life. When a man sees a woman, he sees a woman on the inside. And you say, no. It is true. I teach my son something. And I say, son, don't seek after looks in a woman. And I said, you can find the most beautiful woman walking down the beach, but soon as she opens her mouth, she's the ugliest woman I've ever seen. Do you know why that is? Because we are a container. We are a container. Think about this seriously. We are a container. Everything that you hear, everything that you see, where does it go? It goes inside, doesn't it? We store it at some point in our mind, in our heart. We store it up. Why do you think the Bible says, out of the overflow that is built up in the heart, the mouth speaks? Jesus talks about this. The cups and the bowls. You know, the Pharisees thought that he was talking about washing dishes. He says, you know, you can wash the outside, right? And that's what a lot of women do. A lot of guys do. They dress all up and they get all fancy, but on the inside, are they clean? I can tell you, truly ask your husband if he cannot tell what you look like on the inside. Jesus says, wash the inside of the cup, and the outside will be clean as well. Wash the inside. This goes right back to this. A woman who fears the Lord is to be praised. Because the woman who fears the Lord is a woman who's clean on the inside, who's seeking after God. I tell you what, if it wasn't for my mother hitting her knees and praying for me, I'd be a lost soul today. And if it wasn't for my surrogate mothers as I get older that take care of me and still pray for me, thank you. Because I still need it. I still need it. And I will tell you, a woman who fears the Lord is an absolute blessing. An absolute blessing. Because you know, if your mother was a praying woman, she was a woman to be feared. Because you knew when she prayed, she had the ear of God. Give her the reward she has earned, and let her works bring her praise at the city gate. Mothers, the reason we celebrate Mother's Day is because you are amazing. Absolutely amazing. You can do something us men can't do. Bring life into the world. Because I guarantee you we would do it once and no more. It's not one of those things that we enjoy as pain. But you women have such an amazing gift. You have the ability to show Jesus Christ's love unconditionally to a child who spits in your face sometimes. You have the ability to, no matter how bad you've hurt your mother's heart, or how bad we've hurt your heart, you turn around and go, I still love you. I still love you. I don't know how that's possible. As a guy, we would punch you in the face. But as mothers, you cry and pray and continue to tell me how much you love me, even though I've told you how much I hate you. That is an amazing gift that God gives you. Because if it wasn't for you mothers, we would be in a world of just horrible suffering. Thank you. And as part of a little bit of the reward that the church has done, Nicholas can help me, is we have made, or had made, some custom cups that say Anchor of Hope Church, Happy Mother's Day on them, that we would like to give out to all the mothers. And Nicholas is going to give out, go ahead, roses to show how much we love and we care. Thank you. Jeff, you don't get one. You're not a mother. Thank you. Happy Mother's Day. I love you. Happy Mother's Day. Happy Mother's Day. Good job, Nicholas. Thank you. Happy Mother's Day, Mama.